Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Yesterday I shared how Kody Brown has been nothing short of a disappointment as a father, barely reaching out to his kids. I also mentioned that it was Leon Brown, Kody's son with Meri, who finally broke their social media silence to call him out. But here's the part I didn't tell you. Leon's response came after watching Kody's very public interview on the Vile Files Special Forces reunion. I got a chance to watch that reunion, and honestly, I was stunned. Kody completely dominated the conversation. He barely let anyone else get a word in. Most of the time was spent on Kody and his strained relationship with his children. There were pointed questions about Kody taking responsibility on the show, but then things changing when he got home. Natalie, who co-hosts with Nick, and by the way is Nick's wife, was calling him out directly. She confronted Kody about his claim that he was reaching out to his kids when, according to her, he really wasn't. She even shared her own experience, which added weight to the conversation. And honestly, after watching, I can see why the kids got so upset. Kody was caught in several lies, like when he said he owed no alimony because all the wives made more money than him, which just isn't true. Plus, he claimed that Janelle got a spiritual release through the church, so apparently that happened too. Let me share a few clips with you. I went and got the divorce through the church, but there was no legal marriage, and they all made more money than me, so there was no alimony to be paid. Then, you kind of said in your interrogation that you were offended by your children. Do you feel like your kids owe you anything? And Kody's response, this isn't really the right place to talk about it because it's so nuanced, but I believe I need to heal things with my children, and I thought healing things with their mothers first would work better. I have reached out often. Those who don't respond, that's on them. Relationships are a two-way street, especially when adults are involved. Almost all my kids were adults when the divorces happened. They'd already moved out and started their own families. What really gets under my skin is how differently Kody handled Natalie compared to Nick. When Natalie pushed him on what he meant by reaching out, trying to get clarity, Kody tried to shut her down, saying it wasn't the right venue. But then, instead of dropping the subject, he kept going, adding more excuses and caveats. He says, I don't want to talk about not reaching out because it's too nuanced, yet he keeps talking about it. And here's the kicker. He says most of his kids were adults at the time of the divorces, which, if I'm being honest, doesn't excuse his lack of relationship with his minor child. It simply doesn't. Even if most of his kids were adults, what about Truly? What about the daughter living in Utah with whom he has no relationship? She wasn't an adult when everything went down. She was just a child, maybe 10 or 11 years old, barely a teenager. And yet, Kody completely overlooks that. And then there's Savannah. When all the drama was unfolding between Kody and Janelle, when they were separating and he wasn't talking to or seeing his kids, Savannah was still in high school. She wasn't even close to adulthood. She was a child. It's like he throws out that most of my kids were adults line and conveniently forgets about the ones who were minors. No wonder some of his adult children, especially Mykelti, are furious at him because of what he's doing to Truly. It's heartbreaking. Then he casually drops that Janelle had a spiritual release, as if it's some passing detail we didn't already know about. Well, apparently that happened too. But there's more to this interview. Kody was also asked about the impact of reality TV on family relationships. He went on at length about how reality shows can stir up conflict by pitting family members against each other, all in the name of drama and ratings. He talked about how it affected his relationships with his wives, and even said it forced him to take accountability, or rather that he was told to take accountability for things he claims he didn't do. He admitted pretty openly that he's not a grounded person, which makes taking accountability difficult. He said it's a challenge to feel responsible when it's a she said, he said situation. He explained, I can look at my hands and say, here are the 10 things I'm accountable for, but that one you're trying to pin on me isn't mine to own. Basically, he's saying it's hard to be grounded in all this chaos, and honestly, we've all seen him lose his cool and flap around like a chicken when things get tense. Then he threw out this gem about retiring his wife Robyn from reality TV, so the producers can't pit them against each other anymore. When asked how that's going, he said, we're solid. If you know me, I probably talk about Robyn a lot. She's shy and doesn't want me sharing, but she's my favorite person in the world. And let's be real, after 3 divorces, anyone would struggle with some kind of mental health issue. What really struck me as bizarre was how Kody talked about reality TV criticism, about hearing what his kids and wives say, about not wanting to own up to those things, only to turn around and say he wants to retire Robyn from the show, as if it's his call whether his 47-year-old wife works or not. It feels like this whole special forces thing he's doing is his way of escaping sister wives, a chance to build a new career where he doesn't have to discuss Robyn or have their relationship put on display. He claims reality TV causes conflict in their relationships because of all the criticism, sometimes even criticism of your spouse, and how producers pit people against one another. And yeah, I won't disagree that producers chase drama and exploit whatever they can find, but here's the thing, they can only work with what you give them. They'll only exploit what you're actually putting out there. If you don't share it, if you're not willing to open up, there's nothing for them to work with. But here's the thing. It's pretty clear that Robyn and Kody's relationship isn't as perfect as it looks on the surface. And instead of honestly acknowledging that, Kody just says he wants to retire her from the show, like she doesn't have any say in it herself, as if Robyn has no agency to decide for herself. Kody also spent quite a bit of time blaming mental illness, something he isn't even officially diagnosed with. At one point, he talked about all the supplements he's taking and how he lied to the producers about needing them all for his ADHD, a condition he claims to have but admits he's never been diagnosed with. He mentioned caffeine, some supplement called Nutrafol, which honestly I had to look up, and vitamin D as part of his treatment. Now, I find this really concerning because I actually have ADHD myself, and I know firsthand how dangerous it can be when someone throws out advice about treating ADHD without proper knowledge. Kody's not a doctor. He has no formal diagnosis, and yet he's suggesting these supplements as a fix. That can mislead people into thinking those are legitimate treatments. Caffeine, for example, is definitely not a long-term solution, and some of these supplements, they're not proven to help. What bothers me is that he seems to be using his supposed ADHD as an excuse for his verbal impulsivity, saying, "It's my ADHD." But if you know you're struggling with something like verbal impulsivity, which is common in untreated ADHD, then the logical step is to get professional help, see a doctor, and explore medication or therapy that can help. From my own experience, once you start proper treatment, that impulsivity can improve dramatically, but it doesn't seem like Kody wants to take that step. And again, he doesn't get to decide to retire his wife from reality TV, like it's his call alone. Moving back to his children, when Kody was pressed about his relationship with them, the conversation took a meaningful turn. If I can offer any advice as someone who hasn't had the best relationship with her own father, never stop reaching out. Keep showing you care. Keep letting them know you want to be part of their lives. Even if they don't respond, keep calling, keep texting. I always tell my kids, I love you. Reach out when you're ready. Sometimes the responses are kind, sometimes they're not, but you keep trying. And then there's this moment where Kody is sitting with 5 of his children right there, fully engaged and present.
There's a tendency for Kody to put his effort where it feels easiest and most effective. He said when he reaches out, he makes the effort, but a relationship requires 2 people. And now he's reached a point where if the other person unloads something harsh or cruel, he just sits through it, takes it without much pushback. He even admitted he often finds himself apologizing for things he doesn't really feel responsible for. It's a tough balance, trying not to invalidate others' feelings while also knowing where your own boundaries lie. And he acknowledges this process is painful. He said some people aren't causing pain, and sometimes it's just how the relationship itself is. Now, this part of the interview is exactly what Leon was responding to. Natalie jumps in and says she doesn't have a good relationship with her own dad, and it's his job to reach out and show love. I get why Leon and Audrey reacted so strongly. They even left comments calling out Kody for not reaching out, saying it's verifiably untrue that he does. They clipped the exchange and shared it in a TikTok or Reel. Kody talks about his kids as a group, but Leon knows firsthand that Kody isn't reaching out to him, so of course they're going to be angry. Mykelti weighed in too on her own podcast. She said it's probably true Kody hasn't reached out to Leon, and that relationship isn't working. Kody does reach out to some of his children, Mykelti included, but she told him she can't communicate with him right now. She loves him but needs space. She doesn't have the emotional capacity to deal with him at the moment. On her Patreon last night, Mykelti said exactly what I mentioned yesterday in my video. Reaching out is only the tip of the iceberg. There are years and years of neglect, abuse, heartache, and pain that one phone call, "I'm going to do better," simply can't erase. It would take a consistent relationship, a real, ongoing willingness on Kody's part to take accountability and to change. But the truth is, he doesn't care enough to change, and nothing can help them get past what he's done. One of the things that still breaks Mykelti's heart to this day is that when Truly was very, very ill, almost dying from kidney failure, Kody made her and Aspen manage it all on their own. He wasn't there for them. That put Truly in an incredibly dangerous situation. Kody just doesn't show up. He doesn't care to. He stays where it's easy. In one clip, he says,
I have 5 kids right here that love me, so why would I spend my time and energy chasing kids that don't? Those 5 kids engage him. They're present, they respond. And that was another issue Mykelti brought up on her Patreon last night. Mykelti shared that her dad thinks the only way to have a relationship with him is if they step into his world and do whatever he wants to do. It's not about him spending time with them or getting to know them, it's about them fitting into his life. She told him, it's not about us engaging you. You need to get into our world and get to know us. Tony made an important point about this dynamic. Robyn tells Kody, if having a relationship with these kids is valuable to you, go do it. But here's the catch. It's the value proposition that's the problem. Tony criticized Robyn for basically letting Kody off the hook, sending the message, if it's not valuable to you, don't bother. And that's exactly how Kody sees relationships. If you're not of value to him, he won't invest. Kody doesn't value relationships where he has to be held accountable or where he doesn't enjoy himself. Tony even said Kody has multiple kids he doesn't even want to spend time with or know. And Kody claims, they're conspiring against me. No, they're not. At one point, Kody says he has a great relationship with 3 daughters. And this part really gets under my skin, because it's not the kid's job to maintain the relationship, it's the father's job. Mykelti said she's always the one reaching out to her dad. She doesn't want to, but she does it anyway. Kody keeps saying relationships require 2 people, but Mykelti's point is, I am reaching out. What makes this interview frustrating is that Nick and Natalie, the hosts, don't really know Kody's full backstory. They don't know he has a minor child he's ignoring, a child he's not engaging with. In the interview, Kody admits he doesn't like to reach out because of his ego and because he hates taking responsibility for the pain he's caused. Then he says he has a great relationship with 3 daughters, which, just so you know, are Ariella, Brianna, and Aurora. Those 3 girls live with him. Ariella is still a minor. But what the hosts don't realize is that Kody also has another minor child living in Utah, one he's completely ignored. That child was born on the show, and she's been overlooked her whole life. She's 15 now, but was only 10 when the family split. Kody has favored the kids he adopted with Robyn over all the others because they engage him, they add value to his life. Watching all this unfold is unbelievable. Kody seems to think that by making these public statements, he's fixing his reputation. But the truth is, it's only making things worse. There's a minor child in Utah who barely sees her dad because Kody doesn't care enough to have a relationship with her. Meanwhile, he boasts about having a great relationship with 3 daughters, completely ignoring that little girl. No wonder so many of his kids want nothing to do with him. In fact, 13 of them have cut ties. And here's another shocker. Of those 5 kids he says he's close with, only 2 are his biological children. The others are adopted. He adopted 3 kids when they were already older, 14, 11, and 9 years old, and it seems threw away his other kids in favor of those who would worship him. Honestly, it's painful to watch this all play out. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, bestie.